You are listening to Unified Through Chronic and Mental Illness with your hosts, Angie Roberts and Kimberly Murphy. Please be advised that some of the topics of this podcast can be triggering and sensitive in nature.
The survival rate of patients who undergo renal transplantation has improved considerably over the past 3 decades. At present, one can expect a survival rate of 95% at 1 year and around 90% at 3 to 5 years.
Hello, Spoonies and mental health warriors. Welcome back to Unified. I'm Kimberly Murphy here with Angie Roberts.
Hey, y'all.
And today we have a really special guest, Jonathan Traylor, who's been on our podcast before to talk about his own experience with kidney transplant process and what led him there. If you haven't heard his story, please go back now to season 1, episode 15, because today Jonathan will be giving us an update on his health and on kidney advocacy. Welcome back, Jonathan. It's so great to have you here.
Hey guys, thanks for having me back again.
So you're 10 months post-op. How have you been, Jonathan?
I'm doing really well. I've got most of my back and, I'm just living my best life with transplant.
Right.
What does that look like? What is your best life?
Best life is, I'm back exercising and, just enjoying life. It's a completely different lifestyle. And now that I'm transplanted, it just totally has changed everything, where I have a lot more energy and able to do more. So.
Have you had any health issues at all since, over the past 10 months?
No, thanks be to God, I haven't had any other health issues other than, the diabetes kind of came back due to the medications. Things like that, the immunosuppressants and things like that kind of, shoot your sugar up a little bit. The pancreas sometimes doesn't work as well after post-transplant. So you always see an increase in sugars in post-transplant patients because of that. So if you're a diabetic before, there's a great chance that you're going to be diabetic post-transplant because of the way that the body responds and stores the sugars a little bit differently when you have a working kidney. So I had to go on some more diabetic medication because of that. But other than that, no, I haven't had any other health issues.
Now, you said you're on immune suppressive medication?
Yes.
Is that so that your immune system won't attack the new kidney?
Yes, it is. So your body will naturally attack a foreign object or foreign organ in your body. So if it recognizes, something new or it's not natural, it's not of your body, of course, it'll just naturally attack it because it's not supposed to be there, right? So
right.
You have to take the medication to suppress the immune system. By doing so, that lets you keep that organ in your body. And the immune suppressants on the flip side of that means that your immune system is low. So you have to continue to really be cautious of going out in public, large crowds. It's pretty much the same stuff that we've been dealing with the COVID. It's pretty much a transplant lifestyle already, where
right.
you have to be mindful of bacterias and things like that. So you always are washing your hands, using hand sanitizer, staying away from large crowds, just being really careful. I still go to like grocery stores and live and do normal things. I'm just a little more cautious, a little more careful now about things.
So that definitely puts you at a higher risk of catching COVID, I imagine. I mean.
Oh yeah, most definitely. It can, but again, just using safe practices such as washing your hands, hand sanitizer, mask, all those things.
Things we should all be doing anyway.
Exactly.
Right,
exactly.
right.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
And that 6 feet space or whatever, because I was kind of in the mindset anyway, like, man, I don't like people on top of me anyway. So, just kind of back up,
Yeah, right.
I get it.
Everyone's learning personal space, which is great.
Yep.
So, Jonathan, can you kind of tell us a little about the story of having your friend's kidney, but how we also want to know what has it been like just knowing that for the last 10 months, for the last 10 months?
Emotion, kind of a roller coaster in a way, because like at first when they called me and said, hey, our brother's passing away, would you like his kidney? Like that completely floored me because I knew the family, and we had been friends, and we'd all been
Yeah.
growing together and things like that. So there was an emotional connection. And but then it was a tragic situation. I can't go into all the details, but it was a tragic situation that turned into a beautiful situation, because he had
Right.
signed the back of his driver's license
Mm,
and became owner. And
Mhm.
sadly, of course, it passed, but because of that, he was able to save my life. And emotionally, it's been a little tough because like I said, I knew this person.
mm,
My situation's a little bit different than most deceased donors. Don't know who their donor is,
right.
or
Right.
unless they do some heavy research on things. But I actually knew the donor, so emotionally it was a little tough. But like my mentor said, someone out there was going to get my kidney or get this kidney,
Yes.
and it might as well have been me. And since it
Right.
was offered to me, of course, I went ahead and took it. And it's turned out to be a really beautiful thing. And I text with the donor family all the time, and of course,
Aw.
yeah, and we're friends on social media and all that, so they kind of keep up with me on posts that I make on social media and whatnot. So it's turned out to be a great situation for me. Of course, it's always in the back of your mind. I'm mindful of the fact that they could have easily just said, hey, we're going to let his organ just go anywhere since he's a donor, but they specifically called me and direct donated to me. So it's definitely a special situation.
Which I'm
Definitely.
sure they must be really proud of, all the work that you've been doing with your podcast and social media and kidney advocacy. They must be, I mean, I would think if I were in their position, I would be really proud of the fact that you've done that, since you've, gotten better and gotten well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's I've gotten a great response from them from that. And I wouldn't be able to do those type of things without my donor
Hmm.
and the donor
Right.
family. So it's just it's huge. And
Right.
and so that's why it's so important that we continue to talk about things like kidney disease and kidney disease awareness and organ donation, because I mean it literally changes a life.
Right.
So, speaking of the podcast, how is that going?
The podcast is going great. I've interviewed just quite a few from the last time that we talked. I've interviewed people from all different, countries and states. Interviewed people from Ireland, Canada.
Wow.
I recently, a few weeks ago, interviewed someone from Birmingham, England.
Oh,
So I've
so cool.
been, yeah, it's been awesome, the response. And it's kind of like, once you put yourself out there that this is what you're doing, people just start contacting you left and right.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
just it's amazing. The need is so great, and there's so many warrior stories out there. And we need more platforms for people to be able to get them out. Get the word out for them about their story, especially the ones that are in need of a living donor. So
Right. Yeah, that
Right.
must
it's
be,
yeah,
so that if that can get heard, you just never know who's listening. That one time, that one podcast could just touch the right person and completely change somebody's entire life. It's
exactly.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, do you have any stories that stand out? Like some really odd stories out of all the people that you've talked to? No names, but like, does anything that you would want to
I'll
share with us?
I got one in particular. I'll tell you her first name. Her name's Thelma.
Hmm.
She's got an amazing story. This lady has had a heart transplant. Okay, uh, imagine a heart transplant
Yeah.
recipient also had brain surgery, and then now she's in need of a living donor for a kidney.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, just sitting there listening to her story, sometimes I think, man, Jonathan, you've been through a lot, and then I listen to some of these warrior stories, and most of them just supersede anything that I ever faced, because I had a near-death experience with kidney disease, and I was an emergency patient and all of that. And I think I kind of covered that on the last podcast, but
Yes, it's a great story. Yes.
yeah, but once you listen to you realize, that you haven't really experienced much. I mean, I'm just blown away at some of the stories that I've come across in interviews that I've done with other warriors.
And I think those conversations, we always think about interviewing someone so that other people can hear it. But I mean, I'm sure as a podcaster, you learn just as much from the people you're talking to, and sometimes more often so.
You do.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's so true.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So I did have a question that's kind of completely changing the subject.
Sure.
At any point in your life, your body can start rejecting your kidney, right? Is that true, or?
Yeah, so it can, as long as you're taking your medicines and doing everything on your side, your part, such as diet, exercise. For me, I didn't do such a good job of that my first 40 years of life.
Right.
So, I'm trying to do, kidney disease was a total life altering event for me. So I take care of my body now in such a way that is complete reverse from what I did the first, 40 years. I'm 43 now, so I'm exercising almost daily. When I say exercise, I'm walking 3 to 5 miles. I'm riding my mountain bike.
Nice.
I'm going to the gym. I wear my mask. Just to let you guys know, my town that I live in is a small community, and the gym I go to is a 24-hour gym facility, and there's hardly anybody there when I go at nighttime. So I put myself at minimal risk as possible. But those kind of activities of staying active and and watching your diet, staying on top of your medications. You got to do that to try to keep that kidney in best health as you can. Also, staying on top of your blood labs, like going and when the doctors say, hey, you need to do a lab, which I'm doing monthly right now. So just making sure that you stay in contact with your physician, going to all your appointments, doing everything that you can do. Now, that doesn't mean it's 100% foolproof that the kidney at some point could reject. It can happen. There's always that chance, but you do everything in your power and you live day to day and kind of leave it in God's hands if you're a faith believer, and I truly am. So that's kind of where I leave it. Is I do my part, and then the rest of it's in God's hands.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful attitude. Yeah.
Absolutely. So how can someone help the kidney community that's not involved yet?
Like us. Other than podcasting you and putting it out there, like someone like us who's never been kind of aware of kidney disease, what could we do to help someone like us?
Or even organ donation. Like I hate to even admit this, but I don't think a lot of people think about how important it is. You know what I mean? Like how important it is to just to sign the back of your driver's license. It's just, it's not that hard.
No, I got you. A lot of people, it's not relevant to them because they haven't experienced it. So a lot of times in people's life, until they experience something like kidney disease, it's not in their mind because they haven't experienced it. So they're like, it's not, out of sight, out of mind type thing.
Or nobody's going to want my, need my kidney, or nobody's going to, my body's not in good enough shape, or whatever.
I would say the best way to get involved is to literally do the research and do your due diligence on organ donation, and go over to donatelife.net and possibly consider becoming a donor. Sign that back of your driver's license. You can actually sign up on your phone as well.
Okay.
There's many different ways that you can sign up to be an organ donor. And like I said, it's not just for kidney. I mean, you got liver, lung, heart, skin and tissue, eye, I believe hand is one now. So there's just many different ways that you can save a life by becoming an organ donor. But also, you can also sit back and look at the statistics and kind of do the research on becoming a living donor as well. Because a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions about when it comes to kidney. They think, well, if I give you my kidney, I'll just die.
Right.
I'm going to end up sick. And that's not necessarily true. I mean, I'm living life right now with one kidney. And so, you can live a perfectly healthy life with one kidney. And, you do have two, but and as a matter of fact, if you donate a kidney kind of increases in size to kind of take over and compensate for the other kidney that, it recognizes that the other kidney had been, is gone. And so it kind of, and it increases a little bit in size and it takes over that function, of the kidneys. But
does it take over the full function, Jonathan, or do you still have to go in and get dialysis or?
No, it takes over the full function.
Oh, that's a blessing.
Yeah. You don't need any dialysis after you receive a transplant. So.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, that's great.
The other ways I think that you could consider becoming an advocate or ambassador of a nonprofit such as AAKP, American Association of Kidney Patients, NKF, National Kidney Foundation, or AKF, American Kidney Fund. And those three organizations there you can get involved with, become an ambassador. You don't have to be a kidney patient. You can get involved. Anybody can get involved and become an ambassador. And and it's a great way. There's many different things that you can get involved with these organizations, such as charity walk events. You can raise money. You can go to their Zoom meetings. There's private groups on Facebook. There's all kind of different things that you can do to get involved and become an advocate.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I just wanted to go back and ask because people tend to be a little lazy. How do we sign up on our phones? How do we do that? You said we could sign up on our phones.
Yeah, it's right there next to where the health is. So like when you go into your phone in the health app area. Yeah, and you just scroll all the way down and you'll see it. Eventually it'll pop up. You just become a donor.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
That's
Is
great
this for iPhone?
Yeah, it's an iPhone.
Because I was like, I don't have that. I don't have a health
Okay, so
area.
all you iPhone users.
Yeah, iPhone users.
Come on.
Yeah, iPhone users. I'm sorry.
That's a great
That's
I'm
okay.
sorry. I don't think Apple needs enough plug. They make enough money, so I didn't want to put their name out there.
Right, but yeah, I was thinking, but I don't have that. So
yeah,
Oh,
but
that's
for the Android users, I'm not really sure, but you can still get on your phone and just go to donate .net, and there it is. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
So what has been the biggest blessing behind this whole thing, Jonathan?
Well, Angie and Kim, it's been a completely life-altering event that could have really turned tragic. I mean, I was just moments from death. But the beautiful thing is it completely changed my objective and the way that I view life in general. I'm so much more appreciative of every day. Just become a completely different person, more positive than ever, and just really have this attitude and spirit of trying to help people. And that's what the whole show Hope with Jonathan's about. It's all about it's not about me. It gives other people a platform to be free, and I just want to help other people. And I think without this life-changing event, I would have never ever probably started doing things like this. But because of this experience, I really, really, truly believe that God allowed this to happen so that I could change and become the person that I needed to be.
That's
I can
wonderful.
understand. Yeah, I can understand that. I kind of feel that way about mental health because mental
Yep.
health advocacy is so
I feel
important.
the
And
same
so,
about lupus. I think
yes,
lupus definitely made me more aware and caring about other people's struggles, and I
Yeah.
think made me a better person.
right.
And I'm sure you're aware, Kim, of the glomerular nephritis from lupus as well. So
Hmm.
that can definitely affect the kidney. So
Yep.
yeah, and then mental health goes hand in hand with kidney patients. So because kidney disease definitely can affect your mental health with anxiety, depression,
Yeah,
and things like that. And you have a lot of low times when you're dealing with something like a chronic illness such as kidney disease, because it's not only physically changing, but it's definitely mental. There's a
Hmm.
mental aspect of kidney disease that is very draining.
Does it have enough focus though? Do you feel the mental part of it?
I would say there needs to be a lot more focus on the mental side of
Hmm.
things. It's tough, and especially at the beginning stages.
Right.
It I mean, once reality hits, that especially if you're on dialysis, it's tough because you just go through this stage where you're like, oh wow, I'm living on a machine, and it totally like just hits you really hard.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, it's a sense of like loss, you
Hmm.
know, almost like you're like a pet or family member just passed away, literally. It's just that feeling of like of loss. And at the beginning stages, like I said, it's just really tough. And then until you come into that acceptance stage where, okay, I've got to accept this so I can move on. It takes quite a while. For me, I had to accept it right away because I was an emergency case. I basically, woke up on dialysis. But there's different ways that people end up on dialysis and with kidney disease, and some patients get to progress and just kind of go through the whole stage of kidney disease where they eventually end up on dialysis, and then other people are a really quick stage. So so it's either way, it's mentally draining, and it's really tough. And that's where your support comes in, because anytime you're dealing with a chronic illness, you definitely need strong support.
I agree with that. I think many people can relate. The chronic illness community, especially, can relate to mourning yourself, mourning your past self, who you used to be, and accepting what your new life is going to be like.
absolutely.
I could definitely
Absolutely.
feel that when you were saying that.
Hmm.
No
Me too.
doubt. No doubt. Yeah. And support, your support team, whether your family members, your friends, church community, or maybe a hospital community that has support groups. Definitely reach out to them when you're battling, chronic illness, no matter if it's kidney disease or cancer or whatever it is. Definitely reach out, because you don't want to battle this stuff alone, and you're not meant to. And
Right.
we're not superheroes at the end of the day. And it's a hard deal to go through alone. And there are patients out there that don't have the luxury of family or friends or a spouse or things like
Hmm.
that. And it's tough. I don't see how they battle it. So definitely, always look at all your resources and say, where can I get support? And you can reach out to people like your social worker, your local community, church, things like that, to gain some sort of support group.
Hmm. I know a lot of people sometimes are shy to do that, but the community is so welcoming no matter what illness you're dealing with. Everybody really does want to support each other.
Right. And there's also places on like social media, like there's group pages that you can join, for whatever chronic illness you're battling. I see them all the time. And so join those communities, because there's somebody in there that's going through the same thing that you're experiencing. right at this
Absolutely.
moment. So
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely do not have to go it alone. Definitely do not have to.
I do have to say, like with the mental health groups, be careful which mental health group you go into. Like if you can be triggered easily, you have to be careful. But, as chronic illness and physical illness, it's not the same. But mental illness, I know I was in a group and I was just triggered every day. So
Yeah,
I had
that's a
to
good thing
leave.
yeah,
to keep in mind. That's true.
that's true. Yeah, anytime you're in a place with other people, you're going to get different opinions, attitudes, political views, things of that nature. So
Oh,
you
yeah.
never know what you'll see or say. So yeah, if you're one that can be triggered easily, or say something that, or you can't hold your tongue back, type of
That might not be
person.
the place for you. Yeah.
Yeah, yep.
Right.
So
Well, I'm
absolutely.
so glad that you came back to talk to us again and that you're doing so well. Is there anything else you'd like to
Yes.
share with the unified audience?
Yes, I would. I want to thank you again. It's always an honor to be able to share with you guys, and I appreciate you having me on the podcast. I've got some great things coming in store, and so I'm actually going to be working on an autobiography based on my story. So that's in the works.
Wow. Awesome. I
Yay.
love it. That's great.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity that someone reached out to me, and I'm working with them. So it's an amazing deal that I've got going, and it's going to be amazing. And I haven't announced that quickly yet, so you guys are first for this.
Yay.
And
Ah.
Well, thank you for sharing that
yeah,
with us. I can't wait to read
yeah,
it.
yeah. And then I'm going to continue to just do what I'm doing with interviewing patients in need. And if you haven't checked out, my podcast, I'm on Spotify, Apple, pretty much on stream your podcast. Hope with Jonathan podcast is on there. Also, I'm really pushing now for people to join me over on my YouTube channel at Hope with Jonathan. You can follow, subscribe over there. And I'm building a website. I'm about a quarter of a way where I really want it. I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I continue to edit it and critique it. Now I'm my own worst critic, so I'm changing it all the time. But yeah, go check it out, www.hopewithjonathan.com. And we're just continuing to grow and try to help people.
That's
It's not really
wonderful.
about me. Yeah, it's not
Right.
about me. It's just about other
Right.
people,
That's right.
and trying to help other people. And I want to try to share as much I can on as many platforms as I can.
And I think that's wonderful. If you touch one person, if you just could save one person, it's worth it. It's all
Yep,
worth it. Yeah. And
absolutely.
let us know how the progress goes on the autobiography so that we can share that information with everyone. And again, we'll put up all your stuff on our social media pages so people can easily find you. And thank you so much again, Jonathan. We love having you on and talking to you. You're so great to
Yes.
talk to. So easy to talk to.
He's always so positive and
Mhm.
happy and
Yeah, I do love and I want
has a
to point
happy
that
spirit.
out, right? Because I think
Yeah.
it does make a difference your attitude on things as to how healthy you are. There's definitely that mind, spirit, and body connection. So
Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
thanks, guys. I really appreciate you guys, and I wish you guys all the best with your podcast, Unified. Really
thank you.
appreciate you having me
Thank
on,
you.
and
Thank you.
you guys have a blessed evening.
You too,
You
Jonathan.
too.
Thank you so much. It was so great to hear from Jonathan again. He's always a wonderful guest to have on and so informative, and his attitude is so positive, which I really love.
I know. I just, we were like both of us were kind of like down, and then
Hmm.
we did the podcast and we were both so happy afterwards. Like,
I know.
Jonathan's spirit is just catching and it's
It's
amazing.
very contagious. And I'm glad that he's reaching out to the community because someone with his infectious attitude is, the kind of person you want to have doing advocacy for people who are struggling, I think.
Yes, definitely. It helps them to feel better and open up more.
Absolutely. Right. So, what is the mantra for this week, Angie?
You may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them.
I think that's so perfect because I think that just really encompasses everything Jonathan was talking about.
Right. That he's just changed, he appreciates life so much more now.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't, he wasn't reduced by everything that he went through and he could have been. So
Absolutely. Yeah. He took
come out with a negative attitude and
right and made a negative into a positive. So
right.
we hope that you enjoyed this week's episode. And if you did get something out of it, please like, share, follow, or subscribe. All of our social media information will be announced in just a moment. Please join us next week for a Pride Month celebration.
Yeah.
You do not want to miss out, so tune in. Until then, please remember that we are always stronger together, and thank you so much for listening.
Mask up. Peace out, guys.
Unified Through Chronic and Mental Illness can be found at anchor.fm/unified. There you can find all social media links as well as other ways to listen.